Alrighty, folks, it is time for the quarterfinals of Grand Prix Dawnbloom Grove, the inaugural tournament for the Exalt of Twiltree rotation season here at the end of 2025. I will be fully upfront, and I think I said this at the end of the last round. I didn't know if I was going to be able to take this deck to top cut, so with where I've landed on some of my performances so far, I'm pretty happy to see that even with my like uncertainty about some of my deck building choices, I was still able to take this deck all the way to top cut. But the challenges don't just stop there. We are up against Dr. Chipmunk, fellow content creator, whose video on this match will be linked in the description below and will be on a time card up in the top right now. Who is the first ever three-time back-to-back-to-back Grand Prix champion, having won 4 of the last 5 Grand Prix, with the only exception being my win back in May. So she has been on an absolute tear. Without even knowing how this match is going to go, I highly recommend you check out that video. Again, link will be in the description below, and that time card probably is no longer up, but you can still click on the info card at the top right to pull that back up and check it out. So, Chip is on a deck that has proven to perform well for her before, which is Sultai Golems. As I understand, there's very little that this deck has picked up from Exalted Twiltree, at least as far as the main deck goes, but it has picked up something very important nonetheless, and that is Huskforger Acolyte. So because Acolyte gets to come down on turn 1, the 3-mana plays of Ozon's Blessing and Unflinching Titan, Ozon's Blessing being able to find any of your creatures with mana value 2 or less, and Unflinching Titan being able to ramp you by letting you surveil one when it enters or attacks and then put a land card from graveyard to play tapped, those both allow you to just sort of tear away in terms of your advantage. And because you get to be on a playset of Ozon's Blessing, all of the most critical creatures on the lower end of your curve, which is to say all 2 of them, are able to come down a lot more reliably. Unspeaking Titan is the big one, and it's going to be the biggest headache for us. 2 mana 3/3 gives your golems ward 1 if they don't already have it, so it at least doesn't stack up. Has the familiar Titan clause where it can't attack or block unless you control 3 or more golems. And unlike a lot of golem decks we've seen in the past, the specific gimmick here is that they aren't really getting away with like a bunch of small token generators that count as golems. It is just proper golems here and things that can copy them, and we'll get to that because there is another card in this deck that does play nicely with golems here. So Unflinching Titan, when it enters or attacks, gets to tap a creature and put a stun counter on it. That is going to be a massive headache for us. It stems our aggression, allows them to punch in through blockers. I've mentioned a lot over this GP so far that I think Kieran of Boons would have made our deck so much better. And Unspeaking Titan is in a lot of ways is functionally what if Kieran of Boons was just insane. Because not only does it disable a blocker, it doesn't care about the size of the blocker, and it reduces that blocker to absolutely nothing, just completely makes it useless for a full additional turn cycle, and because of Ozon's Blessing, they can tap it on our turn, and then still attack with the Unspeaking Titan if they have the 3 golems. So that's a problem. In addition to that, they also have Ozon's Blessing being able to do what our sideboard is supposed to be trying to do, which is Ozon's Blessing for Exorcist of Errors as one of our primary hits. So that way they can rip our hand apart on our draw step, or just do so at instant speed if we have any sort of card advantage generation, which our deck does kind of dig through things pretty quickly, so Exorcist might not necessarily come down on the draw step. But regardless of how things play out, Exorcist is just a pretty good card in this matchup. Hitting one of our survivors can be really effective for Exorcist, just kind of denying that draw value. So that is something that's mindful, although I will probably be happy to offer up a survivor if there are other cards in my hand that I care about, because I know that Chip is really keen on taking away survivor. So something we can kind of leverage there. Beyond that, there's 2 copies of Herald of Awakening. It is the one non-Titan golem that Chip is on. Just draws and discards. There are no ruins in this deck, so there's never going to be a way for it to animate. It is just cheap, good blocker, loots away something, and then can loot away a land to get a land in your graveyard for Unflinching Titan, or can loot away a flashback spell, and then just kind of gets to do some good things for counting towards your golem count. Of course, Husk Forger really, really strong in a deck like this. We talked about Unspeaking Titan. We've talked about Unflinching Titan. Up at the top end of the curve is a playset of Unyielding Titans, which are also pretty devastating. It gets to force us to reveal our hand when it enters and attacks, and they get to strip a non-land card from our hand or our graveyard. Also notably, this gives their Golems Menace. Unflinching Titan gives their Golems Trample. Menace plus the stunning blockers from Unspeaking Titan just makes their board impossible to block. It can really pile on the damage really quickly, and then, of course, the Trample from Unflinching Titan is also very relevant there. And then their top end caps out at 2 copies of Jetstream Cruiser, which is going to allow them to convert cards in their hand into both additional damage on this 5/4 flyer for 5, but also allow them to play this, discard a card to fright something at instant speed, flicker something out of the way of removal, or more relevantly, flicker something at instant speed to get another Titan enter trigger, which is really powerful. So it's going to be a lot of really scary, really powerful threats that we're going to have to fight really hard to punch through. That is capped off by, of course, the Ozon's Blessings, 3 copies of Hang as some removal. This being power 3 or less is a little awkward for us because it's really hard for us to get many things above 3 power. And it's also very easy for them to stick something that costs 3 or more, so they just don't care. And then the other new card is Reflected Echo, which gives them an instant speed way to make token copies of their Titans. Now, fortunately, Reflected Echo is not going to add a ton more pressure because it makes 1/1 copies instead of them keeping their stat line. But the fact that they are 1/1, the fact that they're 1/1s doesn't really matter when you're getting 2 Unspeaking Titans. When you can go, turn 2 Unspeaking Titan, turn 3 Reflected Echo, turn 4 Flashback Reflected Echo. That is just 3 Unspeaking Titans on the board out of 2 cards. That is really, really devastating. 23 land base here. I think it's 4 paths with 2 of the green-blue one and then 1 of each of the others. Plenty of shock lands. Yeah, plenty of shock lands. It looks like total of 9. 4 blue-black, 3 green-blue, and then 2 black-green. Kind of curious as to... No, actually, I'm not too curious. I was going to say I was a little curious as to why more sodden paths, but not more Clearwater Grottos over Enigmatic Fens, and it's because the paths coming down on the first 2 turns, untapped green and blue is really key on turn 1 for Herald and Husk Forger Acolyte. And then probably the weakest point where we know they're going to make cuts is going to be 2 copies of Duress. We're a very creature-dense deck. This is just not going to hit us. 15-card sideboard we can dig into after game 1, but for now, I'm nervous. I'm very scared. So let's see how this all shakes out for us. Yeah, one of the things we're really going to have to do is just take every opportunity we can to be aggressive because we need to not let them get a moment to breathe. We cannot give them breathing room. We just have to lay on the pressure as much as possible. Because we are in top cut, I am 4th seed, so I will just get to play. Just double checking that. I'm the higher seed. That is what's important. I'm 5th seed, but Chip is 6th seed. The way that played out is that 3rd seed Magma Dragon did not have time to see out the rest of this tournament, so had to drop before top cut, which adjusted things a little bit. Chip and I went from being on opposite sides of the bracket to the same side of the bracket. So the dream of us getting to fight in the finals was shattered a little bit. Definitely taking the play here. We have pretty solid three-lander here. We can go turn 1 Husk Forger, even if... No, they couldn't remove turn 1 Husk Forger, but we can go turn 1 Husk Forger, shock Sanguine Palace. The one awkward thing is because it's Forest and then Sanguine Palace, we can't go Exorcist Calamity Cat. We could go Mountain Calamity Cat into Shock Husk Forger, or sorry, Shock Exorcist, right? That's an option. We're keeping 7. I'm keeping this no matter what. I think this hand's fine. Chip is mulliganing to 6. That is a good sign for us, although Chip will be able to draw back the card that they lose because they are on the draw. So card advantage is going to stay pretty neutral rather than them getting the early card advantage, which is good. I would much rather us be neutral than them getting any benefit out of being on the draw. But can't be sure what they'll end up with. Their deck is very, very good at grinding, so we have to be wary and just do what we can to kind of put them in a bind. The fact that we get to lead on Exorcist here is really good. Because it can really dismantle what they're doing, especially after mulligans. I will also say one of our best plans in this matchup is just to never leave anything untapped, because then we at least take away the value of Unspeaking Titan tapping something. So I think I will shock in the Sanguine Palace here for Calamity Cat, hold the mountain, just because I want to leave open the opportunity to play the Forest next turn. Because I can play Forest, Husk Forger, discard a card, give the Husk Forger haste, and then play Exorcist. I don't think I love that line, but I want to leave myself open to more options. So we're going to shock in. Calamity Cat and pass. And it feels weird to want to play Calamity Cat over the Acolyte here, because, you know, Husk Forger turn 1 is theoretically just like one of the best possible starts here. We do see the Husk Forger come down for them, so that is a turn 2 Ozon's Blessing keyed up. We untap, we draw Fabricated Anomaly. That would be the reward for going for the Acolyte on turn 1, but I think I like going Exorcist, discard Acolyte, give Exorcist haste. Let's play Forest. Let's play Exorcist. Show me your secrets. I'm trying to think what they could reveal that I would want to see the face down cards. Like what would they have to reveal for me to not take the face up pile? Because ultimately, you know, while the information advantage of getting to see the face down cards is pretty big, what's even bigger than that is getting to guarantee you have a hit rather than hoping you have a hit with the face down cards. We see Unspeaking Titan, we see Unyielding Titan. That's the pile. I will take the known Titan. I'm going to make them at least pay 1 extra mana for an Ozon's Blessing, maybe. I'll take Regice. So we know an Unyielding Titan's in hand. We don't know the 3 other cards. We don't know what they will be drawing. Yeah, I think I'm in on pitching Husk Forger to just crunch in for 3 here. Opponent takes 3, and we pass. And I've been ragging on these Exorcists all GP, but, you know, this is getting to do something here. We see Primal Fissure cracked for Swamp. One of the advantages of this deck as well for being a 3-color deck. We do see Unflinching Titan. Can't block right now. Does get to get back the Primal Fissure no matter what, which is unfortunate. But we know about one of the cards still in their hand. They surveil away Duress. I would have loved for them to get stuck drawing that instead. One of the advantages of their deck is that they have like almost no double pip costs. They have 2 Jetstream Cruisers and then the flashback on Reflected Echo. So double blue is really the only important cost as far as for casting individual spells goes. We will untap. We will draw a Profane Grove. I think I'm keen on just discarding that here. Actually, so one of the things that I'm thinking about is rather than playing Anomaly, we just Exorcist here, pick another card out of their hand. I'm in on that. Show me your secrets. We know that there is the Unyielding Titan. I think I just take that Strand So what's the nightmare scenario that they could be holding? What would I rather hit, and what would I want to gamble on trying to hit? Lands in hand are dead cards because we have not seen them miss a land drop yet. Yeah, I think I'm fine just taking the Unyielding Titan. I'll just take the face-up Titan. So that's under the new Exorcist. We will pitch Profane Grove, give this a +1/+1 counter, and haste. We will play Mountain and swing 6. And pass. We see an upkeep crack on the Primal Fisher, which makes sense. We know that they binned what they surveilled, so there's no reason for them to keep the surveilled card on top because it isn't on top. They get an island, so there's the double blue covered. It could be anything here. 4 mana. Unyielding Titan. Yeah, so they can try and take this anomaly here. Reveal hand to all players. It's going to be the anomaly. Yeah, what a shocker. So we are in a bit of a pinch now. We untap, we draw. Question becomes, does Mountain in hand do more for us than Mountain in play? They have no way of stripping the Mountain from our hand. So the primary value of it would be getting in 1 extra damage off of Calamity Cat. We could also turn the Calamity Cat sideways. Menace plus Trample, like, they're just... like, we are never profitably blocking for the end of time. We can at least force the Huskforger Acolyte to think about trading with Calamity Cat or saving 3 damage rather than 2. If we get in with everything, Calamity Cat blocks, gets blocked by a Huskforger, they go to 5. If it gets in, they go to 3, and then they die to a single Exorcist. I think I like keeping the Mountain in hand. We send in with just these, they both connect, they go to 5. If we put a counter on one of them, they go to 4, but they know we have no tricks in hand. I like just getting in with everything. Force the Huskforger out of play with 1 card in hand that at least takes one of their options out. If they prioritize getting to swing in with Unyielding Titan, that puts them in a really hairy spot in that regard. So, yeah. We are sending in with the squad. I'm cool with making this trade. I've gotten the value out of Calamity Cat here. The biggest value that Calamity Cat could still provide is Phoenix, but I think I just need to take this Huskforger off the board. And we're just going to hold the Mountain. It does more for us in our hand than it would in play. In an ideal world, we could have gone for... Nope, not our deck. I always do that. In an ideal world, we could have gone for Abominable Avalanche on second main there, kill the Unyielding Titan. But that would have been bad. In the ideal world, we kill the Huskforger, deal 2 to them. Put them to 1 here. 2 cards in hand. Trying to think what the worst case scenario is here. Without an Ozon's Blessing or a Titan, of which we have 2 Titans tucked under Exorcist of Errors right now. Without a 3rd Titan, these aren't swinging in. Unless they spend 3 mana to activate one of them. At which point I think they activate the Unyielding Titan, so that way they have the bigger blocker. And that's the dangerous part that we're at now, is we do not have a safe attack. So we need to find something more to do. If we could find an Avalanche, that gives us a lot of leeway. Because if their plan is currently riding on Unflinching Titan, Unyielding Titan tap, make a Golem, so they can block with Unflinching Titan and the Golem token, that's not a very sound plan if we have Avalanche, because we can Avalanche the Unyielding Titan, kill it, get it out of the way. They pay 3. It's Ozon's Blessing. So Ozon's Blessing getting the Unspeaking Titan, tapping one of our creatures. Yeah, so they're going to have a Titan up to block. No, sorry, not up to block, but they get to freeze one of our creatures, and they can shove 11 damage here. Toggle normal untapping. We get a counter on here, and then yeah, we're just in a pretty rough spot here. Best attack they can make here is just Unyielding Titan. But I would not put it past them swinging with both. They are just doing the Unyielding Titan attack. We reveal the mountain in our hand. They take Calamity Cat from graveyard. It doesn't really matter between Cat and Husk Forger. They're going to take the cat. I can read I can see the future. And then we are at 12. And then, yeah, that's lethal next turn. Even if we don't attack, they can just... even if we don't attack and draw a creature, they can just Unspeaking Titan kill us. So we untap, we draw... Yep, that's game. And that's Titans, folks! God, this deck. Just foot on the pedal, and then they get 3 Titans in play, and then the game's just over, and there's nothing we can do. All right, sideboard time. Purifier's bad. Moonlight Adversary could be good. Anik out Oathbound could be good, actually. I've been ragging Anik a lot, but I think Anik and Davika could be good. And the reason I say this is that Davika's target player sacrifices a non-land permanent. If it had mana value 2 or less, it phases out. That is actually pretty relevant at picking off their board, because they don't really have a whole lot of trinket permanents that sit in play. Every single one of their bodies does matter in some capacity. So Davika does actually get some value in that regard. I think that means I'm up Ozon's Blessing, I'm up Anik, I'm down for an encounter. I'm definitely wanting Terminal Impact here as well. Uncounter ability gets around the ward. God, that was rough. I could have tried to develop the Anomaly. I could not have anticipated the second Unspeaking Titan. Or sorry, not Unspeaking Titan, Unyielding Titan. I could not have anticipated that, but that's... I can only do so much. I don't think I do the avalanches. I think I even go down the avalanches that I have in the main. I think I go down a Dawnsworn Survivor. Do I go down a Dawnsworn Survivor? I think I go down 2. And then it's really just a question of, like, what's the best thing to sit on board and be annoying? Or rather, what's the worst thing to have in play and be annoying? And I think it's Gilded Entertainer. I could think about making 2 more trims to try and finally get some play with Moonlight Adversary, but I think we just need a rocket like this. Let Terminal Impact do its job. Let Anik Oathbound do its job. Let Ozon's Blessing for Exorcist do its job. Actually, we could stay off of Ozon's Blessing because we're not getting Purifier in here. We could stay on for an encounter. The instant speed Exorcist isn't super important for our particular strategy, whereas the Anik we can just get off of for an encounter, and then its stat line is more relevant. One other thing we should talk about is their sideboard. So she's on the additional 2 copies of Herald of Awakening, 1 Mask Smith, 1 Skytide Piercer. Piercer's unlikely to be relevant, as will be true of Herald and Mask Smith. 2 copies of Syscall I also don't anticipate being too relevant. 4 copies of Downlink Overload I don't anticipate being too relevant. 1 of Negate, not very key. It's really just Thunderous Avalanche I could see bringing in over the Duresses, because Avalanche lets them, kill one of our things more reliably, or they can Avalanche off of a Titan and then blow up our anomalies plus the puzzle box tokens, which is pretty annoying. So I think this is the plan. I think we go down 2 Survivors, Entertainer, and 2 Avalanches for the 3 Impacts, the 2 Annex, and just rock it like that. I'll play. And that's a 1-lander. We could ride on Ignited Soul to dig us out of this. We have a very easy discard here in Anik Oathbound, 2 copies in hand. But if we miss the second land drop, this is just going to be a very fast 2-0 for the opponent. I might have to mulligan this. Now, I didn't go down a land like I have in the last couple rounds. So I'm looking at 19 lands left in the deck rather than 18. That's because I've actually stayed up on the black cards for once. But I'm not sure if this is a workable plan. Because Primal Fisher also takes a land out of the deck, that's just profoundly awkward. I think I have to go down to 7. Or, sorry, go down to 6. Not go down to 7. I'm at 7. All right. That is 3 lands, Exorcist, Phoenix, Anomaly, Encounter. I like this more. Opponent keeps 7. That's awkward. We can go down on Phoenix, probably? Yeah, let's get rid of Phoenix, keep these. And then I like leading on Sanguine Palace here. All right, opponent is on a 7, which is awkward for us. They do get the Husk Forger on 1 again. That's rough. We draw Anik. Definitely good to hold the Profane Grove for potentially if we can find another land. We get to go Forest. Exorcist once again. Show me your secrets. Or at least some of them. I will also say, I'd heard the sentiment that Kieran Boons is bad in this matchup because of the ward and because of the high power. I think the high power, it is true, Kieran Boons is really rough against like a 5/5 blocker. But as far as the ward cost goes, like I would have been able to pay the ward cost at the very least. Downlink Overload is revealed. Unyielding Titan. Oh, wow. Revealing 4 cards. Overload, Reflected Echo, Jetstream Cruiser, and then Unyielding Titan. What could be concealed here? So what I have to consider is the thing left in hand so critical that I don't take it? Worth noting, no lands revealed in this, 2 cards left in hand. If the last 2 cards are 2 lands, this could be, you know, turn 2, you know, play a land tapped, or, you know, just play a land tapped and then pass. Or it could be play a land, like the cards in hand could be fetch land and then Unflinching Titan to go get that fetch land back. They could be on Primal Fisher, Unflinching Titan. It could also be land Ozon's Blessing that they're sitting on, or land plus Unspeaking Titan. One of the things that I'm thinking about as well is like, besides Reflected Echo, which is probably the thing that I would be most worried about here, we know they don't have the mana for Jetstream Cruiser at the moment. We know based on our hand, 3 toughness, 3 toughness, 3 toughness, that Downlink Overload's not going to be super important. And it's actually good for us. I'm surprised it got boarded in with that in mind. Yeah, I like seeing the face down pile. So gonna write down Jetstream Cruiser. We were right. Second land plus Ozon's Blessing. Okay, we're just getting a reveal of the full hand. That's easier. We took the gamble. It paid off. Whew. Gonna intend on clearing this Enigmatic Fen here. If it's tapped, we're safe to attack with Exorcist. If not, better not to. It is tapped. We are clear to swing in because they do not have the black for Downlink Overload. Not at the moment, anyways. We untap. We draw Urban Jungle. That means I'm good to shock in the Urban Jungle, go for foreign encounter. And I want to go foreign encounter instead of the anomaly, in part because... So actually, hold on. One thing that's worth being wary of. Did they board in the One of Negate? Would they ever board in the One of Negate? They know that one of our only sideboard techs that it hits is uncounterable. I think no. I think because if we hit Anomaly off of this, Forward Encounter plus the Puzzle Box allows us to use Anomaly to grow Exorcist, whereas the other line can't. I think we just got to go for Encounter. If it gets countered, we eat a card in their hand. There's one unknown. It would have to be draw negate for turn. Opponent says it resolves. Oh, I have none pat. My numlock was off. Alrighty. Second Exorcist, Huskforger, Double Ignited Soul, Reaper, Profane Grove. So this is tough. I kind of like going for Reaper here, but I also like going for Exorcist. I also like going for Ignited Soul. Huskforger is the last thing I'd want to take here, I think. The argument to go for Ignited Soul is that it allows me to get Devika out next turn, and that's really good. Reaper of Blossoms, not so much, but does start filling our graveyard, starts making up for the life loss from these Shocklands. Thinking. It feels weird to want Ignited Soul. Actually, no, Ignited Soul's terrible because we get a 2/2. It just dies to the Downlink Overload. So it has to be second Reaper. Sorry, it has to be first Reaper or second Exorcist. I think it's just going to be second Exorcist. We ship the rest to the bottom in a random order. We hit them. This has a +1/+1 counter on it. They show the cards we already knew about. It sounds kind of crazy, but I'm tempted to take the Reflected Echo, just take them off of anything that we know about, so they have no like resources to their name. Because at the very least, like they could Reflected Echo, copy Huskforger, Acolyte, and build up to Unyielding Titan or Jetstream Cruiser. We could also just take the Cruiser. Because, like, I don't care if they're copying Acolytes ultimately. What I do care about is this thing being able to just kill us suddenly and out of nowhere. Let's take Cruiser here. Or rather, I'll just say I'll take Cruiser. And we can hide that for now. So know about these three still. And then we are in the clear to just make this attack. And we'll pass. One unknown, gonna be two here. Unyielding Titan could come down if one of these two is a land. They could hit the Fabricated Anomaly or the Anik. That would be the reason to take the Unyielding Titan, if they have the third land. But we know they've only had 2 draws to try and find a land. No guarantee they have it. And if they go for the Unyielding Titan, they leave themselves down if nothing else. They did find the land. They are going to get to Unyielding Titan here. I think they take Anomaly. We reveal our hand. Have to assume it's going to be Anomaly here. We do at least reveal some part of our sideboard plan now. They take the Anomaly, not a surprise whatsoever. They are at least down on blockers, though. And then, of course, Reflected Echo lets them copy Unyielding Titan to draw step hand attack, which is cool. Totally cool. Totally fine. Not at all a problem. There's so much instant speed hand attack right now. We draw the third Exorcist of Errors. Okay. Okay, game. I see you. Exorcist number 3. I'll take that Echo, please, and thank you. Do not want you to get instant speed hand attack. And we chip in for 5. And 2 of these Shocklands coming in untapped is also helping here, because they'd be at 13 otherwise. We're just going to hold Profane Grove, hold Anik, because if we can find a way to loot away Anik, we want to hold it in hand. We want to hold the Shock in hand, rather. Because that is our Anik enabler for getting to Vika. I think it's our only enabler. Yeah, because Reaper of Blossoms is life gain at end step. They draw and pass. I think I closed their hand view without looking at it. I know that they are holding Downlink Overload. They could Downlink Overload Exorcist of Errors to get back. They could Downlink Overload either of the ones that's holding a 3-cost card that's instant speed and then get it back. So that's a little awkward. We untap, we draw Mountain. I think what I like here... Man, and the worst part is if we swing in with Exorcist of Errors... No, if we swing in with Exorcist of Errors, just the 3/4, we can get in without them being able to make a 1/1 and Husk Forger. Oy, this is so frustratingly difficult to think through. So if we swing in just the 3/4, they could make a 1/1, but then they would not be able to block with the 1/1 and the Husk Forger while playing Downlink Overload. And of course, this is also the one that's hiding the one card they can't currently cast after killing this. Notable that we didn't get hit with Draw Step Unyielding Titan here. So they didn't find a second Reflected Echo. I think I'd like to click on Start Combat. See if they have any responses. Because if they drew an Ozon's Blessing, they could do something at start of combat. They did draw an Ozon's Blessing. Wowee! So they will get to stun down the 3/4 Exorcist, but that does give us a clear attack here, if nothing else. And it's possible that they just... I was going to say, it's possible they get Exorcist of Errors. They just get Unspeaking Titan. Stun this. We don't get to untap with it next turn. That's so cool. But we do at least have a clear attack with these. Take them to 5. And then main 2, I will play Anik Oathbound. I will play Mountain. I don't care that I'm revealing a card to them. I just need to get this into play. I just want to get mana in play as much as I can. So another Titan gives them the ability to attack and block. If they don't swing with Unspeaking Titan, I'm going to be chipping in with Anik for the rest of time. I don't care if she dies in combat. It's actually preferred. I can't help but sit here and wonder what the game would look like if I'd grabbed the Reaper of Blossoms instead of this second Exorcist of Errors. Them having the Jetstream Cruiser and or the Reflected Echo would be pretty devastating here. Unspeaking Titan number 2. Yup. And presenting why this deck is just a nightmare for any creature deck to beat. We have 3 creatures that don't untap next turn, which mean, and their creatures have menace. So we take 9. Oh, yeah, they know about this, so they exile that. It's not even a May, they have to exile an on-land card. So we take 9, and we're dead next turn. We're dead unless we draw specifically and exactly uh, one of our 3 copies of Terminal Impact. So 3 and 49, folks. Drum roll, please. Oh my god. There is justice in the universe. Not out of it yet. Alrighty, now we have to do that from the draw. That's going to be rough. Does anything change on our sideboard from the draw? I don't think Moonlight Adversary is going to be super key here. I think I'm second guessing Anik as I always do, but I think Anik, there is still good rationale behind Anik. The one thing I'm debating more than anything is, do I want Abominable Avalanches after all? Because there's a consideration for trimming the remaining 2 Dawnsworn survivors of all things. Just because like this is just never attacking in this matchup. This is never going to get to come into play, and our ability to spam this gets severely hindered by what they have going on. So there's a consideration to like go down the survivors and then like try and make 2 more cuts. Like maybe we go down a foreign encounter, go down second Gilded Entertainer, and then we get the avalanches, so we have more board fighting potential. Because, like, it's notable that at least if we can pay the ward cost, it kills 2 of the 3 Titans. It kills an Unspeaking Titan, it kills an Unyielding Titan, picks up multiple 1/1 tokens, which is relevant for both killing Acolytes, but also killing Reflected Echo tokens. It just kind of sucks. I think we got a rocket, though. Opponent's going to be... Oh, yeah. My bad. Opponent's going to be on the play here, unsurprisingly. Turn 1 Acolyte, turn 2 Reaper, then we can hold a Terminal Impact. I mean, Impact gets through the ward, which is nice. It also gives us the alternative of, if we see them lead on Huskforge or Acolyte, we can kill their Acolyte. We can just turn 1 Fisher, crack it for a Mountain. I think we're keeping this. Sodden Path, Acolyte. Must be nice to have turn 1 green-blue source Acolyte all 3 games. My god. All right. Yeah, we are not getting this for free. No way whatsoever. Primal Fisher, crack it. Go find Mountain. Get you out of here. We are going to make her earn it. Exorcist of Errors. I think what's going to happen here is I'm just going to reveal Reaper of Blossoms. Actually, do I just reveal Anik? So here's the thing. I think whatever I'm revealing... No matter what I reveal, the thing that I'm keeping in my hand is going to be more tantalizing to them. Because Anik is stuck in my hand, because these Reapers are not as impactful as something else, I almost feel like my best play here is show them the Reapers and the Anik, make them take Acolyte. Or we pull a similar gambit to what they did last time, where we show 4 cards. Okay, so this is where the mind games of Exorcist get really crazy. We could show them Anik, Reaper, Huskforger, Acolyte, and make them think that we are protecting a 2-mana card in our hand by giving them more choice in the face-up pile. If we do that, I think they take Anik every time. Do I care? Possibly no. If we show them just the Reapers, I think they take the face-down pile and take Anik anyways, but then they know the full knowledge of our hand, which I think is possible. They don't at least know 2 of our cards if they take the face-up pile, if it's all 4 cards. If they think we're mind-gaming them, though, and we're trying to protect, or if they think we're trying to protect one of the 2 cards in our hand, They could choose to look at the face down pile and see the 2 lands, know our full hand, but take nothing off the Exorcist. Sort of a reverse of what they did last game. I think I'm showing the 2 Reapers always. I think I'm showing Anik always. It's just a question of, do we hide the Acolyte? I think we show the Acolyte as well. We really don't care if they take the Acolyte. We're on single green source here. Yeah. We're going to do a mirror of what they did. Maybe it's primed them to think of the card we're hiding in hand. And the fact that we're revealing a bunch of 2-drops, I feel like also indicates that we might only have 1 land in hand and 1 card. They're looking at our hand. That worked. Oh my goodness. We got him. And then we'll just hit reveal hands to Chip again, so that way she has the full knowledge. I hoped that would work, and I'm so glad it did. So still a 2-3, still very relevant, but pretty sweet that we got that to work. And they primed them. She primed herself with the reveal for last game. So second Acolyte, not what we want to find here. We could go Urban Jungle, just play Acolyte to try and gear up for a future turn, but I think we want to go Urban Jungle, take 2, and Reaper of Blossoms. End step, we mill 1, 2, 3. Cool, didn't want to draw those. Not at all. This is sarcasm. I will say, if they swing with Exorcist of Errors, I am not blocking. We know they have Downlink Overload in the deck. We know that they thought about putting it in. We saw it last game. So, second Terminal Impact going there is really unfortunate, though. Not every mill can be like the one we had last round. We can't always get double Survivor plus Phoenix, but still. Honestly, at this point, like, even if this game goes the way of game 1, which, you know, we're not laying on the pressure like we were game 1, so we're in a much more precarious spot in terms of them just putting Golems in play and taking over the board and killing us in 2 turns. But one of the advantages that we do currently have, that's Ozon's Blessing, tap the Reaper. Yup. It begins. Oh, wow, we're going to get to remove a stun counter for the first time. But yeah, even if this just goes horribly for the rest of the match, we got to whiff an Exorcist of Errors. That was just so satisfying. We find Mountain. So no matter what we do, we are not going to be able to pay for Reaper of Blossoms. I think I actually like leading on Anik here over the second Reaper. We get Anik in play. End step, we mill 3. Third Reaper. We hit an Avalanche, we hit a Primal Fisher. Gain 1. And that is an Avalanche in the bin. We're just in a bit of an unfortunate spot in terms of what we're hitting. But yeah, 7 cards we don't mind eating off of something like a Fabricated Anomaly here, and then the Avalanche needs to stay put. But we are not at the point of having Anomaly anyways. Unspeaking Titan, if it could attack, would just tap down Anik. If Exorcist attacks, we will block with Anik because Downlink Overload is bad for them in that context. If we have a shock land that lets us get Davika and start shredding their board. Although I imagine if we do so, they at least give up the Exorcist of Errors first before the Unspeaking Titan. Also relevant right now is that if we get Davika in play, all of their permanents are mana value 2 or less. So we would always have Davika phase out so they can't attack it and just clear the rest of the value. They pass. So this could be draw step, exorcist, Ozon off of Ozon's blessing. This could be Ozon's blessing before combat. This could be activate Unspeaking Titan. Lots of things could be happening here. We will draw, and I will ask anything before main 1. Very unfortunate that the draw here is Urban Jungle, if only because I'd love to double green here, but doing so means we don't get Anik. I think I will still shock in the Urban Jungle, and I might go like Reaper Husk Forger, and then we just hide the mountain, hide the Husk Forger Acolyte. The Reaper and Husk Forger gains us the 2 life back that we get from playing from shocking this in, thanks to Anik, and then we gain 2 again, go to 20 on our end step. The downside is that puts us really all in terms of what our resources are on board, whereas I would rather hold resources to try and get the avalanche rolling. I think we do shock this in. And I think we don't play Acolyte. No, we do play Acolyte. So we're going to play Reaper. Number 2. We gain 1. Going to play Acolyte. We gain 1. Move to start of combat. Reflected Echo targeting Unspeaking Titan. We say K. They're going to tap Anik. Toggle normal untapping. Put yellow on her. So we have a pair of 2/3s and Husk Forger. If they swing next turn, which a land drop lets them do, if they have blue swords, they actually don't have the second blue. I think I'm fine where I'm at. Hold on. I have end step triggers. Mountain, Husk Forger, Exorcist. Going to the bin off the first one. Second one is Spirit Realm Phoenix, Anik, and Fabricated Anomaly. Bummer to see Anik go here because now we know for a fact... Oh, actually, no, that's great. Because we have Husk Forger plus Mountain. Or actually, we don't even need the Mountain. We just need the Husk Forger. 1 drop gets us Anik. Any 1 drop gets us Anik. Three mana, another Reflected Echo from hand, copying the Unspeaking Titan. That's going to stun one of our creatures. I imagine it's going to be, yeah, Husk Forger Acolyte here. Toggle normal untapping. And then they're going to swing with everything. Except the Exorcist. Okay, no, they are swinging everything for 6. Oh, sorry, I should be at 20. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. Chip is confirming. So I'm at 20. Toggle normal untapping, toggle normal untapping. I'm just going to shuffle these around real quick to put yellow on both. And then I take 6. But I do get to play Anik from Graveyard. Oh my god. I get to play Anik from Graveyard. It's cast it from the graveyard transformed. I believe this works. I'm spending 4 mana to cast Anik, and I'm spending 1 to cast something from my hand. That should be the 5 for Abominable Avalanche. All right, we untap. Remove these counters. Toggle normal untapping. Draw. Profane Grove. We will hold in hand. Husk Forger Acolyte. We gain 1. Mountain. Cast Anik Oathbound from the graveyard. So we're going to do Attached to Davika Severed. Set counters to 2. Target player sacrifices a non-land permanent. Of course, it's the Exorcist of Errors to keep this engine online. And so we're going to set annotation to phased out. We're just going to put her over here. End step, avalanche trigger. Yeah. So we get the 3/3 Yeti. And then we have these trigger, and then this triggers Anik. So we gain 1 off of that. Mill 1, 2, 3. The second Phoenix and the second Exorcist. Those go to graveyard. We gain 1 here. And then 1, 2, 3. We gain 1. And call it a turn. And they're going to have to tap down the Yeti with one of these Titans. Because we get to eat one of their 1/1s otherwise. They're probably going to also tap down the Huskforger Acolyte, which is really awkward for them. They have the Unflinching Titan, so they do now have Trample. But they can't get a land off of this unless they surveil a land to the graveyard. They've been an Exorcist of Errors. So they're going to swing with everything. Let's see if they tap down Huskforger Acolyte. They are going to tap these both down. And then they're thinking on the 3rd. Okay, they're going to keep both Acolytes tapped. That seems pretty wise here with the Unflinching Titan. Toggle normal untapping. And then we take 5. We return Davika, no longer faced out, not attach. I accidentally closed my graveyard. I want to set annotation to nothing. I want to clear these counters and toggle normal untapping. And then I want to draw for turn. We are flooding out hard, folks. Okay. Main 1. We start with the easiest choice here. We remove a counter from Davika, make them sacrifice something. It's going to be a 1/1 Unspeaking Titan. Yep. So, phased. Could just shock in a land for the sake of... No, because I think I want to do Reaper of Blossoms payments here. So we're going to play the 3rd Urban Jungle tapped. Hold the Profane Grove. Move to start of combat. Thinking about attacking, but I think I'd rather just leave these Titans looking awkward. I think no attacks. I think we just go to end step. We mill 1, 2, 3. That's the final terminal impact, unfortunately. We will get back this forest. And then 1, 2, 3. Get back nothing, gain 1. And then the only cards we have in our graveyard that care about being there are the Phoenixes, which we have no counter generation right now. We've hit 2 Fabricated Anomalies, 1 Calamity Cat, and 2 4 encounters, so we're kind of in a bind there. But at least buying back this forest gives us some value. I have to imagine if they swing with everything, they use the Titans to tap down Anik, so that way we can't just double Davika them. But the Davika is still a problem. Like, they need to deal with this. We have more blockers than they can punch through at the moment. And they are mana screwed. So we're not dead. They can hit us for 8. They play Murky Path, which is tapped. Notable that they are not cycling. That tells me they might have been sitting on... Oh my god, 3rd Reflected Echo from hand. So they've got 3 echoes in the graveyard. Goodness gracious. They make an Unspeaking Titan. That's a 1/1. They tap and stun Anik. Holy crap. This is nuts. Swing. They are going to tap and stun both Reapers. Hoi, hoi. Oh, and they hit a Primal Fisher off the Unflinching Titan. That's cool. That's not bad for us at all. We take 9. 5 plus 3 plus 1. We go to 5. We untap, we draw. This should be at... Toggle them all untapping. This is phased in. Set annotation to nothing. I think we have to -1 Davika here. If we plus Davika, we gain 3. We make a 2/2 that can't block, so it's effectively meaningless because, of course. I will continue yelling about the can't block tokens just being an absolute headache for anything meaningful for a deck that would want a card like this. Man. The 3rd -1, they sacrifice the tapped 1/1 token because they might as well. Us not hitting the Abominable Avalanche here, where it could have let us pay 5, kill 2 Unspeaking Titan 1/1s and deal 1 to them, and then -1 Davika, make them go down to 1 creature. That would have been amazing, but just not where we're at. So we're gaining 2 at unstep. It's 1, 2. Plus, we are gaining 1 from Calamity Cat, go to 8. Yeah, and then, of course, Unyielding Titan just kills us through all of it. We will cash in targeting them. They do sacrifice the tapped 1/1. We will play Forest untapped. We will play Calamity Cat. I gain 1. And I move to end step. I have both of these trigger. I mill Primal Fisher, Avalanche, Exorcist. I will just gain 1. And Reaper, Ignited Soul. Just gain 1. Okay. This is very rough. And of course, now we're just in an awkward spot because they don't have to kill us anymore. They're going to be able to, but they don't have to because we're at 8. They can kill us, but we're also at 15 cards in our deck, and we're milling 6 at our end step. We draw, go to 14 cards in deck. End step mill, go to 8 cards in deck. Draw step, go to 7. Mill, go to 1. Then final draw step is our final turn. Full circle. We saw this come up in round 2, and now we're going to make it potentially be a problem for us now. Calamity Cat is good in the face of these stun counters, at least. because we can untap something that gets stunned. But of course, I think they would just stun Calamity Cat if it mattered. Yeah, this is bad. This is very bad. They do have Island off of the Primal Fisher. And of course, we don't have to guess here. We know what's going to happen. It's going to be Reflected Echo Flashback, tap down the Yeti, swing, tap down our 2 Acolytes, and then we're dead exactly. So this is mostly just a test of, does the opponent see the lethal? Because if they go for a 4-drop stuck in their hand all game, they miss lethal. They probably see the Reflected Echo, though. You see blue tapped here, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's looking like Reflected Echo. Yep. We'll say K. Until they tap everything but Calamity Cat, I'm not going to scoop. The moment Calamity Cat's left as the only creature, we're dead. So we see Yeti get tapped. They go to combat. Our draws really didn't help us towards the end here. Like, I think we saw Acolyte. We drew a second Acolyte from when we got Exorcist, hit by Exorcist. We drew Anik the turn before they played Exorcist. Then we drew Calamity Cat. I think that's it. I think we've only drawn lands. So, yeah, that's killer. That's pretty rough. Yep. GG's. That's exactly lethal. 9 damage, trample. We have single toughness. Yep. That's the power of Unspeaking Titan. Kind of how I figured this matchup would go. It was nice to at least make it look closer than it felt at times. But yeah, when you have a playset of this and can draw an additional playset, and then you have cards that can just be like 2 additional copies. Turns out Regice very strong. So that is going to be a win for Dr. Chipmunk. She continues to be on an absolute roll. She's 2 games away from going 4 tournaments in a row, which is absolutely insane. But hey, I'm here for it. So we put up a good fight at least. We did at least take a game off of her, though absolutely on a nail biter with drawing that Terminal Impact. And then we watched Reaper of Blossoms mill all of our relevant cards and draw us only lands. Sometimes it's just how it goes. So with all of that said, the next video is, of course, going to be the Final Thoughts video. We'll see. I'll talk a little bit more about this deck, where it lands. And I mentioned at least a couple times that I've been thinking about what I would want to do for the Final Thoughts as far as what I'd recommend for this deck. And I think the biggest thing I will say is that I'm going to have a different build of this deck for the Final Thoughts. So stay tuned for that. I'll have some alternative ideas for where this deck goes in that Final Thoughts video. So thank you all for watching. It has been a blast to play this match. Of course, again, link in the description below for Dr. Chipmunk's perspective, and stay tuned to her channel because she's got a semifinals and potentially finals match to come. And beyond that, resources are in the description below for all things custom Magic Revolution. You can check out the Revolution Compendium, which is a curated list of cards set up by the Revolution curators. The search engines of Escape from Limbo and LackeyBot to kind of look through the card gallery and treat it similar to Scryfall, and the Custom Magic the Gathering Discord link, which gets you into the Custom Magic Discord server, where you can follow along with conversations about all things custom Magic design, follow along with set projects, and join in the Revolution chat to talk about the format and give it a try for yourself. With everything said and done, that brings my GP run to an end here. Couldn't get the run back with Red Green Stompy, but to be fair, there were some components outside of red and green that may have held me back in some ways. We'll get into it more in the next video. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned on Chipmunk's channel for the finale of this GP potentially. I will also have a video covering the finals coming in the coming days as well. So you can look forward to that if you still want to see my thoughts and perspective on the final match as it unfolds. I'll do what I can to try and get that to you all in a timely manner as soon as it happens. So I'll see you all in the final thoughts and in the grand finals match for this tournament, but that is going to be the end of me competing this month. So long, and I was going to make a reference, but my brain shorted out halfway through the reference. Yeah. See y'all in the Revolution chat. Bye-bye.